understand that hard conversations are a part of the journey to deeper connections, because you have to tell people what you need. Yo, party people, it's Ashley of SingleWomanChronicles.com, where being single is a beautiful choice rather than a miserable circumstance. And today's episode is all about building meaningful connections as a single woman. And this is a very important topic because I feel like as a single woman, immediately when I thought about it, I started laughing because, like the red pill, blue pill, pink pill, yellow pill, yeah, whatever pill community, they love to make it seem as if women are just dying while we're alone, when ultimately we have the ability to build deep connections outside of romantic partnerships. Like, when you are single, it is so important to have meaningful relationships around you so that in moments when you feel lonely, you can still have those needs met, because it's not just about your romantic partner, because guess what? Married women feel lonely too. I don't know why we believe that just because someone has a relationship or has a marriage that they don't feel lonely. They do. Okay. It's so many married women who have reported feeling lonely. I've even had friends who have told me they have felt lonely in their marriage before. And that's why it's important to build meaningful connections outside of your romantic partnership, so that when you do get married, you will know how to have those connections when you are feeling alone, when you're feeling lonely, right? So really, this episode can help single and women who are in relationships, but of course my audience is single women, so that's why I'm talking to y'all today. So let's get into it. So I wrote some notes about it, and I think the ultimate thing blocking a lot of women, or a lot of people honestly, from building meaningful connections is fear. When you have been hurt by people, we start to build walls up. And I hate that we do that, because when you build a wall, you don't let anyone in. I've heard people say, don't build a wall, build a fence. Because when you build a fence, you're letting the right people in and keeping the wrong people out. But when you build up a wall, you're just kind of like, F everybody. I don't want anybody in my life. Now, for me, I've never been that girl who has gotten hurt and just was like, F it, I'm not talking to nobody, I'm not doing this. Like, of course, I've probably done it when I was angry, like immediately afterwards, but I knew I was lying. So I actually have a gift of like resilience, where I love people so much and I love connections, because I'm actually a connector. I'm the friend in the friend group that brings people together. Like, I'm the girl who, you're my friend first, and if this is my friend over here and this is my friend over there, if they become friends, sometimes they become best friends and closer than me and the other two. I'm okay with that, because I'm a connector and I love people. So I don't ultimately, if someone hurts me, I don't say, oh, F everybody. That don't make sense to me. So I've been able to do that, but I know a lot of people do. And it isn't because you lack resilience. It's just because you would much rather block everyone out than risk the hurt of deep connections that can possibly hurt you. So the advice that I would give you is to just be discerning. Just pay attention, because most people who have their guards up that high, you're actually very discerning. You actually know, like, your gut tells you if this is the right person or this is the wrong person. And you immediately know, but because you're so used to keeping people at arm's length, you just don't let nobody in. And so I want you to first understand that you must recognize the fears that you have and the insecurities that you've had from people hurting you in the past. And understand that if you have not forgiven those people, you are doing yourself a disservice, because forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness is for you, because when you walk around not forgiving people, you are keeping them in your brain space. Like, for example, y'all, I'm about to switch gears real quick and I'll come back. So over the weekend, good sis Meg Thee Stallion dropped a great, wonderful track called Hiss. And in said track, she addressed everybody who had something to say about her getting shot and who didn't believe her and who said all this stuff. Because if we're being honest, she went through a lot. And people are really making it like it's a joke. But it's like when you get shot, that is traumatic. And then when you have to, she didn't send this man to jail. The state sent him to jail. It wasn't Tory Lanez versus Meg. It was Tory Lanez versus the state. Like, they filed the charges. Meg didn't even file the charges, but she was just under so much scrutiny. But anyway, she said a line in that verse, in one of the verses about, don't be mad at me, you should be mad at Megan's Law. Now, Megan's Law basically is about like how sex offenders have to report that they're sex offenders so we can all know. And of course, everyone thinks that she's talking about Nicki Minaj. Well, Nicki Minaj heard this, and immediately afterwards, Nicki Minaj was on, I think they said, I don't know, because I'm not I'm a fan of Nicki's music, but I'm not a fan of her as a person. So I don't follow her. I'm not a part of the Barbs. If you are Barb, I'm sorry that I'm just not in the community. But she was on live, they said, for like 48 hours, 28 hours, 24 hours, something. And she was just angry. And Nicki Minaj is a great example of what unforgiveness looks like. She be so bothered. And it is crazy because she has paved the way for so many people. She is a legend. Like, you can't take that away from her. But she doesn't realize she's a legend. She doesn't realize that she's that girl. And it's crazy to see, but like, she has so much insecurity in her that she's constantly feeling like she has to defend herself, have to state this and all of that. But when you are confident in yourself, confident in where you stand, confident in who you are, you don't feel the need to go out here arguing about it, telling people you don't care, responding to everything, because these people don't live rent-free in your brain. You just live a life of peace. And that's why you should forgive. I don't want y'all out here running around acting crazy because you ain't forgiving nobody. So that's why you need to forgive in order to have meaningful connections. Because one, people are going to hurt you. People are flawed. You're flawed. So you're going to need forgiveness. So that's why you need to learn how to forgive others so that others can forgive you too. So understand that forgiveness is going to open you up to receive new people in your life, receive deeper connections. Because when you're constantly fearing that someone is going to hurt you, you're not going to open up fully to that person. You're going to block it off at a certain point. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, this is deep enough. we gonna stay at the shallow end of the pool. And when you stay at the shallow end of the pool, not only aren't you going to be able to give them what they need, a deeper version of you, you're also not going to be able to receive a deeper version of them. So yeah, you got to forgive. You got to learn how to forgive. Okay. Thing number 2, you have to learn how to balance your independence and your need for help. Okay. If y'all hear my stomach growling, I'm sorry. Okay. I am sorry. I am fighting through, trying to do all of my recording right now, and I haven't eaten yet. That's how much I love you guys, okay? But I just want to apologize because that thing sounded like a burr over here. I'm like, shut up. But anyway, you have to balance your independence and your vulnerability. So one of my biggest struggles in life was asking for help and receiving help. Not just asking, but also receiving. Because I was just so hurt in the past where like I had gone through so many experiences of, I wouldn't say people not wanting to help me, but in spaces where I knew I really needed help, I didn't feel like people came to my aid. But when it was the other way around, I came to their aid. So I had put this wall up where I wouldn't even let people know I needed help. Like I wouldn't even be vulnerable enough to say I need it. So guess what? When you're not vulnerable enough to say you need help, people are not going to help you or even know you need help. So sometimes we have to release our independence and receive help because it's a pride response to think that you got you. Like you didn't make you. A community raised you. God helped you. You have to understand that we all need help sometimes. And that is okay. It is okay to open up and allow people to help you. Now, it's somebody right now while I'm saying this and they thinking, nah, because if you let people help you, they're going to throw it back in your face. And be that as it may, sometimes it happens and that's okay. But you just know not to interact with those people. They're showing you who they are. People with bad character do those kinds of things, but not everybody has bad character. So you just have to lead a life that is discerning enough, but also allow people to help you because you form the deepest connections in your time of need. I'm telling you, like when you really need something from someone and they're able to help you, if that's be encouragement, it's not all about money. It's not all about material things. Sometimes it's encouragement. Sometimes it's comfort. Sometimes it's advice. Like I've literally had people give me advice in a time that I really needed that was like life-changing advice. But you have to be willing to receive it. You can't have deep connections if you're not able to receive that advice, that word, that encouragement. And you have to learn how to just let yourself receive. You have to be able to let yourself receive because a lot of people feel like the world owes them something because maybe you grew up poor, maybe you grew up in a rough life and XYZ. But you have to understand that you have we all have a story. We all have a cross to carry. I grew up not so, like, I wouldn't say my life was just awful, but I grew up poor, single mom, no father, got bullied. I was homeless at one point. Like, I grew up rough, but I'm more grateful that I overcame, and I'm grateful for the lessons that I've learned, and I'm grateful for the humbling experiences, and that's how I view them. I don't view it as life did me such a disservice, so everyone that I meet has to overcompensate for the life that beat me down. And I think some people, you expect too much from everyone, and that's why you don't even open up or allow people to love you properly because you're constantly thinking people owe you something, and that is not true. Life hurt you. They didn't. Even if people of the past hurt you, stop making them pay for the mistakes of the other people in the past. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's why you got to forgive. Let that thing go. Release that thing. You walking around holding grudges from people who sleeping very well at night, who not even think about you, haven't even thought about the time they hurt you, and you're avoiding deeper connections with other people who are trying to love you properly because you haven't let that go. You got to let that go. You have to learn how to open up and receive, because when you open up and receive, that's the only way you're going to have deep connections. Because you can literally have a man in your life right now who loves you so much, but you can't even feel that love because you're making him pay for the past mistakes of other people. You're making him pay for those things and overcompensate. And he's trying to love you properly, but he cannot. Or you have a friend in your life who's really trying to help you, who's really trying to get you to, follow your dreams or give you encouragement or give you some type of comfort or even give you physical help, but you're not receiving that help because the last person held it over your head and you're like, nobody will ever do that to me again, blah, blah, blah. But also you're not being helped. You're not allowing yourself to be blessed. So let it go. Release it. Let it go. I want that for you. I want you to be able to forgive and to embrace real love because it's out there. And real love doesn't always come in romance. Sometimes it comes in friendship. Sometimes it comes from family relationships. Embrace all of those relationships because they're all important. It can come from a partnership at work. It can come from a coworker. Like, just allow yourself to feel it, right? So I do want to tell you guys about my Embrace the Wait 28-day challenge because I've been promoting this thing because I feel like y'all need this thing, right? So this is about the interim between where you are right now as a single woman and meeting the man that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. How you steward that time, that process, that wait is so important because if you don't steward it properly, you're going to show up in one of three ways. One, you're going to show up bitter, angry, resistant from everybody because somebody hurt you in the past and you don't want that to happen again. So anyone who comes into your heart, you're going to be looking at them with a side eye, thinking they're going to do you like they did the last person did you. And guess what? You're not going to get love that way because you're going to think everyone is out to get you. So you're going to push everybody away. Two, you're going to show up unsure. You're going to show up uncertain because you've had so many failed dating situations, failed talking stages that you feel like maybe it's me. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not a good catch. So every time you show up in a situation, you're going to question your value, question your worth. You're going to settle for things that you shouldn't be settling for. You're going to end up in situations with people who don't do what you need them to do. And you're going to self-sabotage when someone does come along and try to love you properly. Or three, you don't show up at all because you're just so over it. You're just like, you know what? I'm not finna do this. I don't even want it no more. Like, take the desire from my heart, God, because just remove it because I don't want it no more. But God is not going to take that desire from your heart. So you might as well just learn how to wait well, steward your weight with confidence, and learn what to do while you wait so that once it's time for that person to come along, you're going to know exactly what to do. And also, once it's time for those counterfeits to try to come along, you're going to know exactly how to identify them and how to cut them boys off too. So if you want more information about the Embrace the Wait 28-day challenge that is starting on February the 5th, my next kickoff, not DM me, child. Email me info@singlewomanchronicles.com or check it out in the link below because I want to help you embrace the wait because sometimes you're single not because there's something wrong with you, not because everybody's stuck, but because you're just waiting. Your time just hasn't come. But it's important to know that sometimes your time might have come, but you just haven't put yourself out there. So I want to teach you how to date in a way that is not exhausting. I want to teach you how to build unshakable self-worth. So when you do put yourself out there, you know that you're that girl walking into a room and you're walking in with an abundant mindset, knowing that somebody's son in here like me. So somebody's son gonna come up to me, baby, and we're gonna talk. And that could be the one, it could not be the one. But guess what? I know I'm that girl and I know somebody finna come talk to me. And I'm also going to teach you how to maintain your hope throughout this process because sometimes that hopelessness can choke out all type of confidence in you, all type of energy, and you just walking around like a zombie and you don't even want to date no more. And I just don't want that for you. So hit me up if you are interested because I want you to learn how to wait well and I want you to overcome the frustration and the exhaustion of being single because sometimes it can get real ghetto, okay? All right. Back to these deeper connections. So the last thing is I want to give you practical ways to foster authentic, deeper connections. Okay. So I already told you to forgive and I already told you to stop making other folks pay for the mistakes of other people in your past and truly allow yourself to receive love. Be vulnerable with the right people. And even if you make a mistake and it's the wrong people, just cut them off and still be open to other folks. But also, I just want you to understand great ways to foster deeper connections. And one way is to get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. Start having deep, hard conversations sometimes. Because I think I was talking to someone yesterday and we were talking about friendship. We were talking about best friends and how sometimes every friendship is going to go through a moment where it's going to be a fork in the road. I don't know if you guys watch Insecure. I love that show. But Molly and Issa in season 3 were butting heads real bad and like they weren't having a conversation, so it went to a head. I think that was season 4. So when it got there, their friendship fell apart for a moment because they weren't able to have those deep conversations. I meant those hard conversations. So understand that hard conversations are a part of the journey to deeper connections because you have to tell people what you need. You have to let them know it's a part of the journey. So me and this person was talking and they were just saying how currently they're bumping heads with their best friend and they don't know what to do. And I was telling her, like, my best friend and I went through the same thing and we overcame it and it was hard and I had to extend a lot of grace. She had to extend a lot of grace and we just had to forgive, wipe the slate clean. But don't be afraid to have those hard conversations. I think too many times in society, we throw people away instead of having hard conversations. Because guess what, baby? It's way easier to retain a friendship and keep one going than to find new friends who are riders for you. Trust me, it's way harder. So if you are in a position right now and it's someone in your life, be it a coworker, be it a romantic relationship, be it a friendship, and you just have to have a hard conversation, but you're afraid to have it, go ahead and have it. Because you don't know how it's going to go. But go in with an open mind. Go in understanding that not only do you have grievances, they probably have grievances too, so you need to listen to theirs. And go in with a solution-focused mindset. Don't go in thinking like, I'm just going to tell them what they do and they need to go ahead and let me know. No, that's not going to get you nowhere. Go in with grace and with mercy because you want it extended to you. So for example, say you feel like they just don't show up for you when you need them. Like you always showing up for them, but they don't show up for you. So you want to go in and be like, hey, lead with how much you like them, how much you value them. Like, hey, I really value our friendship and I really want us to continue to grow in our friendship. And I feel like a part of that is us being able to tell each other what we feel. And right now, I'm not accusing you. I'm just letting you know how I feel right now. So how I feel right now is like, sometimes I think that you aren't present for me when I really need you. And I'm not sure if I'm not telling you how I need support in that moment. And maybe I can be better in that. But I do want to let you know that sometimes I do feel unseen and unsupported in this relationship. And I just want to see how we can, be better in that area so I don't feel like that. You see how simple that was? That's a hard conversation because you don't know how they're going to receive it. You don't know. And sometimes hopefully they don't get loud or, anything like that. Sometimes they may get defensive. And when they do get defensive, just let them know, hey, I'm not accusing you. I'm just letting you know how I feel. This is what I feel in my heart right now. But I still want to work on this friendship. If they get defensive, just let them calm down. If they say they need space, then let them have their space. You know what I mean? But in most situations, if it's a situation that's supposed to be in your life, it's a person that's supposed to be in your life, y'all are going to be able to work it out. So be okay with that discomfort for that time because guess what? It's going to build a stronger relationship. My best friend and I, me and her, she's the hardest friendship I've ever had, but now she's the deepest friendship I've ever had because the connection we have now, we were able to get there through the storms. We overcame the storms, and that's why we're so deep now. We're unbreakable now. Like I'm talking, we gonna be on our golden girls because ain't no way. Like we're unbreakable now. So be okay with having those hard conversations. Also, be okay with understanding that one person ain't gonna be everything to you. One person not gonna be everything. I think when you take the weight off of one person being your everything, you have the ability to enjoy relationships more. We live in a day and age where toxic relationships are glorified. And a lot of toxic relationships are codependent relationships. I think of people like Blueface and Krishan. They are very codependent. Like they depend on each other too much. And that is just not healthy. So that's why it's good to have multiple relationships that are also deep so that you don't depend on one person and they're always pouring out onto you. But also that person ain't dependent on you so much and you feel overextended. You got to let them know like, hey, sometimes I don't have the capacity to be XYZ and that's okay. So understand that you can lean on multiple relationships. That's why you have to learn how to cultivate those things, right? Cultivating those relationships, keeping those relationships in the loop, communicating. Some people be like, well, they ain't text me, I ain't gonna text them. You can't have that kind of attitude. Like sometimes you got to just text people first. Okay. I'm the girl. I'm gonna text you first. I don't care. I'm gonna double text you, baby. Not if I don't know you like that. But I'm saying if we are friends, I'm gonna double text you. But you just got to be vulnerable. We're just not vulnerable enough because we think we come in with this lens that people are trying to get us all the time. And you don't have deep connections like that. And I'm Ashley. I'm your friend. I'm the girl. I got a lot of friends. I've never been the girl that's like, oh, I don't do female friendships. Baby, I got female friends and I got male friends. People are trying to be my friends all the time. And it's because I come in with a welcoming energy and I value friendship. I value people. And when you just come in with a heart posture of valuing people, you're going to attract so many people to you, right? And if you're struggling to make friends, I'm going to tell you ways that I think you can make friends. One, look at who's around you. Who's at your job, who you could possibly be friends with. Who your neighbors, who you can possibly be friends with. Like, what's around you? Who are these Facebook friends that's living in your city that you can reach out to and be like, hey, I think we really vibe. We like each other pictures. I ain't trying to be weird or anything, but would you like to hang out sometimes? Two, go to some networking events. I went to a networking event And I just connected with so many dope women. And I'm just like, this is beautiful. Go to some networking events. 3, go do some things you enjoy doing. If it's Pilates, if it's pole dancing, if it's festivals, go to some of these things by yourself. And I'm telling you, you're gonna vibe out and meet some people. Like, it's people who ready to connect right now. I think, especially in this day and age of the digital world, we forget that nothing replaces human interaction. So you got to go outside to get human interaction. So I know I was all over the place today, but I think I helped y'all. I think I helped y'all a little bit. So if y'all got any questions about what I talked about, please feel free to comment below so I can go ahead and address everything. And if you are listening to the podcast and you can't comment below, go ahead and just DM me on Single Woman Chronicles on Instagram, or you can email me at info@singlewomanchronicles.com, because I feel like this might garner some questions, because I know a lot of women who struggle with relationships and struggle with friendships, and I know that's an area I don't struggle in. So I'm really good at that. I ain't trying to flex or nothing, but I do a really good job at maintaining friendships. Like, I have people who I probably haven't talked to in years that I can reach out to and be like, hey, what's up? Let's hang out. And they cool with it, you know? So just hit me up if you have questions about it, because I want you to have deeper connections. And it's not all about romantic connections. It's about connections all around, because you want to be filled by multiple relationships. And that's the only way to have a real fulfilling life, in my opinion. So till next time, bye.